Hi, thank you so much for coming today. I'm Anna Hofstetter. I'm one of the Nashville Town Council members, and I am happy to introduce Mayor Lineup and Mayor Hamilton. We're very excited to be here today. So I just want to say a couple things. First of all, Brown County schools were closed today, which is very ironic, isn't it? Brown County schools were closed today, March 24th, for flooding. We've seen the UN report from Tuesday. I couldn't get through it, just made me too depressed. So I don't need to convince anyone here of the horror ahead. We are here for solutions. Of course, there will be a cost. What we need to ask ourselves is, what is the worth? There is a cost to not taking action in this climate crisis. There's a cost to not making changes. And that cost, quite possibly, could be our own extinction. We've seen mass extinctions in the past decades of other organisms on the planet, and humanity will be among those. Changing our habits is never easy, but compared to the alternative, we have no choice. So yesterday, my son noticed that the crickets were chirping outside. I didn't notice it, but he did, my 10-year-old. He said, "Mom, it's gonna rain," because they're really chirping. This is one of the beautiful things about living in Brown County. My son, who has been raised here in Brown County, is so in tune with the nature, with the ecosystem, with the insects that he coexists with, that he can communicate in a way and learn premonitions from them. This is something that we want to preserve. Brown County is a very special place, and we intend to keep it special. Now, we all live in a very unique time in history. We live in a unique moment in time when we can change history. So what will our legacy be? On that note, I'd like to present
Thank you, Anna. Hello, everyone. Thank you for being here. My name is Sandy Jones. I'm the town manager for the town of Nashville. Mayor Hamilton and Mayor Linnup invited me on behalf of Brown County to be a part of this amazing partnership that we're calling Project 46, where we're going to work together as a region to try to see how we can start working to mitigate the effects of climate change in our communities. We've created a draft resolution that we are asking the county commissioners, county council, local city and town councils to adopt. And I'm going to read that to you. Whereas the carbon pollution is affecting our region and placing at risk the well-being of our current and future residents, infrastructure, and institutions. Whereas the cost of increasing floods and extreme heat can be measured in lost lives, diminished economy, rising food prices, poorer health outcomes, and millions of dollars in disaster relief. Whereas regional leadership can more effectively advance progress towards adapting to a changing climate. Whereas South Central Indiana regional leadership began meeting in 2022 on this issue, including residents of Bartholomew, Brown, and Monroe counties. And whereas an effective regional response to climate change can be delivered through collaboration between city, public, private, academic, and nonprofit constituencies to develop and implement long-term effective solutions. Therefore, be it resolved that together as elected local leaders, we commit to a regional climate coalition with at least a 3-year starting phase to identify and pursue solutions that effectively address our shared challenges and embrace as primary goals for the effort that we should lead by example by tracking and reporting greenhouse gas emissions as communities and as a region, that we shall seek to coordinate local investments and to leverage available state and federal funding opportunities, including but not limited to funding available through the Bipartisan Infrastructure and Inflation Reduction Acts, that we shall engage in government, nonprofit, and private sector leadership to advance initiatives, highlight successes and challenges, and promote best practice examples within and across sectors, proactively to respond to climate impacts. We shall provide an annual community report to demonstrate the activities and the impact of these efforts and progress towards shared goals. Therefore, be it further resolved that we will commit to seek to fund the Regional Climate Coalition through shared public, private, and philanthropic annual support adequate to its mission. Thank you. Mayor Lineup?
Well, please let me add my thanks to all of you, to what's been expressed previously, for your attendance here today. You know, to a certain extent, I feel like I'm preaching to the choir. You know, is that a little better? I feel like we're preaching to the choir. I mean, you're all here because you care. You're all here because you're concerned about the environment and the climate that we're living under, and we are too. And so a few months ago, several months ago at this point, Mayor Hamilton reached out to me and asked if there was something that perhaps we could do together, that maybe we could not do alone. And so from that, we've come forward with the notion of Project 46, which will be you know, a regional climate initiative. We will see, excuse me, you know, what we're able to get out of this, but I'm looking forward to being able to work together among our 3 communities, Bloomington, Brown County, and Columbus. We're going to do this in part because it's the right thing to do. We all understand, as was mentioned earlier, where our climate is headed and where our environment is headed. I think, too, that we can take some comfort in knowing that this is kind of, excuse me, this is kind of where the puck is headed. You know, that to a certain extent, this can be a competitive advantage for our communities, that people want this kind of effort to address climate and want this kind of activity to occur in the communities they live in. And I believe that we all understand in this day and age that people get to choose to a much greater extent than before where they live. And so they will want to be in communities that have this kind of forethought. And so we want to be there as well. Again, it's the right thing to do. And that's the leading reason. But I mentioned too that in Columbus, we've got projects that have addressed environmental concerns that date back at least to 2016, when I took office. We established a city energy committee in 2018, and in 2019 we had a sustainability plan put together. Those have sort of floundered a little bit, in part because of the pandemic. You know, they sort of interrupted our efforts, but I think it's time for us to resuscitate those and to get back to the business at hand, which is to do what we can to protect our environment. Again, some of those efforts that I mentioned have been productive. We've had some projects that have come forward. We're doing simple things. I mean, we talk about waste reduction. You know, in the city of Columbus, I'm told our participation in the recycling program is 72%. And I'm also told that the average statewide is closer to 50. So we can feel comfortable in the fact that we're doing some things, you know, but there's more to do. So Project 46 offers us an opportunity to collaborate with Bloomington and Brown County. We've had previous collaboration efforts. Those of you who are keeping score will remember that we participate in an activity called Elevate Ventures that is a venture capital type fund that benefits both of our communities. We recently announced participation in a excuse me, fiber optic cable or fiber optic program that will bring internet to the home at much faster speeds than what we're able to have today. So we've got some examples, that we can point to where we've had successful collaborations between our communities, and so we're hopeful that this becomes one more. We think this will allow us to focus on best practices. It'll allow us to learn from each other. We will better qualify for federal and state grants, and I think it will make it easier for us to attract partners from industry and philanthropy. Our initial focuses will be on greenhouse gas emissions. We'll track them, report them, and update a prior study in Columbus that we did in 2017, 2018, and 2019. Again, the dates are instructive. It all got interrupted when the pandemic came around and sort of messed up our processes. But we've got one that dated up through 2019. We'll bring it out, update it going forward. We will ask our councils, as has been mentioned, for a resolution to do what we can, to work with others and use our voice to make it clear that we take climate change seriously and we want to do what we can to implement improvements in our communities. We anticipate providing funding that may result in grant writers, consultants, coordinate local investments and leverage state and federal funding opportunities. We hope to engage with others, including government, nonprofit, and private sector, and then we very much hope to be able to report annually to the community with respect to our efforts. Our initial funding request, as I think has been discussed, is 50 cents per resident. So in the city of Columbus, it's about $25,000. That's money well worth the effort that the investment that we're talking about here. And we also hope to make it at least a 3-year commitment so that this has a little bit of what we might call legs, that it goes forward. And so I'm pretty excited to be here today. I think this is it's a big step forward. It's not too often that you get communities that are able to collaborate together. I think I want to thank Mayor Hamilton, for reaching out to me on a couple of occasions, this being one of them, to find opportunities for our communities to work together. Because as I said earlier, there's so much more that we can do together than any of us can do alone. So once again, I want to thank all of you for your time and attention here today. And with that, Mayor Hamilton.
Thank you very much. It's nice to be here with you, John Hamilton, the mayor of Bloomington. Thank you, Anna, Sandy, Jim. See a coalition, you can use first names. We're getting friendly. And Jim, I know you had some international travel, so that may be still with you a little bit. So thanks for making that possible to be here. These partnerships that we have are also strengthened. We've had strong partnership from foundations. The meeting that happened in October was only possible because of support from the Bartholomew-based Community Foundation Heritage Fund, I think, and we have a Community Foundation of Bloomington, Monroe County in the region here too. Tina, thank you, that helped make this possible, as well as business support and civic organizations. But I don't think I'm going to ask the Bloomington city workers to raise their hands because there might be too many of you. It might be embarrassing, but no, I appreciate we've got significant Bloomington employees who are here who've worked really hard on these issues. We have a council member, Isabel Piedmont Smith. Thank you for being here. As Vice President of the Bloomington City Council for being here. So there's a lot of partnerships, and this journey began last October in a formal way. This part of it with that first ever regional convening that brought together over 100 people in this 3-county region to talk about, learn about, think about what we can do on climate. The purpose generally was to try to assemble a group of people who come from different regions. It's beautiful to think about the Brown County you described, our community, Columbus, the differences, but also the commonalities, but to bring together people from different communities, from different sectors, government, business, institution, education, nonprofit, from different political parties, and different generations. ages to help deal with climate change. Why are we doing it? I want to ask you to try to hold two things in your head at the same time, why we're doing this. One, we have an existential climate emergency. Anna talked about it. I'll talk about it a little more. An existential climate emergency is real, and it is present, and it is existential, number one. Number two, we also have an extraordinary climate opportunity at the same time to do extraordinary things and to do very positive things in the context of dealing with that. And those are, it's kind of a yin and a yang in a way, but so on the existential emergency, yes, just this week, as was mentioned, the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change put out another report, extraordinary, talking about the importance of acting quickly. That the Earth is likely to cross a critical threshold for global warming within the next decade. 10 years, early 2030s. And that if we must have immediate action, drastic improvements, shifting away from the carbon impact of fossil fuels, and that even a few years of delay can have major dramatic impact on our Earth, and that's us too. We already are 1.1 degrees centigrade above pre-industrial levels, and many of you know this better than I apologize. You know, the estimate now is that we will see a 1.5 degrees Celsius rise in Earth temperatures almost really no matter what we do. 2.7 degrees Fahrenheit above pre-industrial levels sometime around the first half of the 2030s. Warming beyond 1.5 degrees, scientists warn us, can create catastrophic impacts. Flooding, heat waves, drought, crop failures, species extinction. That's hard to get my head around. I thought somebody else suggested a way to think about this. If we had a 2 centigrade degree increase in the Earth's average temperature, that's 3.8 degrees Fahrenheit, average. So think about it this way. Your average temperature for most of us is 98.6. You walk around, you feel pretty good. If you had to walk around all day, every day at 102.4 temperature, and that was your new life, that would not feel very good. We know what that feels like to have a temperature like that. And I know I'm not a scientist, but the Earth, if the Earth has a fever like that, it is not a good thing, and it will not be good. Life on this planet will become significantly harder for humanity. Now, locally, we will see hotter temperatures, we will see wetter times, we will see drier times, we will see more extreme weather. It will impact our agriculture, it will impact many things here. So the importance of responding to this existential emergency is dire. It is a red alert warning that we got this week. Again, it is also an opportunity to move forward, and I want to talk a minute about that. An extraordinary opportunity. The 2020s and beyond, we are going to see enormous changes. We are going to see enormous changes. People will move due to climate change in our country and in our world. There will be millions and millions of people moving because of climate change impact. The economy will change dramatically. It already is. Whatever we do, the economy is going to change dramatically because of climate change. Coming at us. Weather will change dramatically. And all of that's going to happen, and we need to be working together to prepare and adapt to that, and also to do our part to mitigate it. And the incredible opportunities arise in significant part because of what the federal government has done in the last 18 months, passing a $1 trillion infrastructure bill that makes and supports infrastructure improvements for roads and bridges, for climate change mitigation, for long-term resilience, making the largest investment in public transit in U.S. history, directly targeting greenhouse gas emissions and improving options, including, for example, school buses for all of us, what we have now in our school bus fleet. The Inflation Reduction Act, $370 billion dedicated to climate investment, the largest ever in our history. Investing in industrial production. We have a lot of industrial production in this climate coalition region. There's funding to help change industrial production, to help improve its efficiency. And that's jobs, that's good jobs. There's money also to support energy shifts, lowering costs for all of us, as well as increasing job opportunities and investment opportunities. There is money to change how we manage forests and farms. We have some of those in this region to help us manage those better for the climate and for our future. Incredible opportunity for resilience in those places as well. And enormous support for consumers, all of us who live here, to make better choices and subsidize us to choose more climate-friendly appliances, features of our homes and our lives. So it's an extraordinary opportunity to take advantage of these strategies that are now available, scaling up wind and solar power, improving building efficiencies, reducing fossil fuel emissions, low carbon mobility options. All of those are enormous opportunities for us to advance with a big range of strategies. So mostly, it's just important to remember that, yes, this is an existential climate emergency. It is also an extraordinary opportunity to rebuild our future in the ways that we want to, that will be better, more just, more efficient, more sustainable. So the power of collaboration is wonderful. And Jim, I want to thank you for working so much with us on this as well, Sandy and Anna. And we're looking forward to working with our councils and our commissions on this. We have a lot to learn together. There's a lot going on right now. We learned that in October. So much is going on. On the way here, I haven't driven here for a little while. I don't know how long it's been up, but I saw the billboard from Cummins that said, Zero Emission Solutions has a name. Now, I haven't seen many billboards like that in my lifetime. We are changing, and there's a lot going on already, and we have a lot we can share. We can work more at scale than we can directly. Jim mentioned that. We can create shared goals and responsibilities and accountability. We can access, I believe, more state and federal support if we do it together. And maybe most important, we can build trust and momentum. Abraham Lincoln said, public sentiment is everything. If you have public sentiment with you, you can do anything. If you don't have public sentiment with you, there's not much you can do. I believe the public sentiment that we represent wants us to work on this. They want us to work together. They want us to build momentum and build trust, which is not simple in these days. There's a lot of noise sometimes, but I think this is a really great opportunity to build trust. Our public wants to see this kind of work, bipartisan work, collaboration among the sectors, positive effect. We're not all going to agree. There's certainly going to be different views of what we should do, how fast we should do it, who should do what first, but that's okay. We can build that trust together. As Jim mentioned, we're going to be asking for a 50-cent per capita per year contribution. For Bloomington, that means about $42,500 a year. We want to make a 3-year commitment to do that. We'll ask our city council to pass that resolution. We'll ask our county commissioners to do the same for the population not in the city. I think that will be happening in Brown County and Bartholomew County, and that's not a lot of money, but it is enough, and we will be seeking support from the business sector and the philanthropy sector. Be noticed if you're part of those sectors. We're going to come talk to you about helping make this move forward. It's enough to get us moving, building trust, building momentum. So I'll close. We'll be taking questions if you have any. I'll close by just saying I hope Project 46, the name is obviously a homage to the link that we have, right? This old road that's ties us together. But it's really meant as a kind of a symbolic link among us as a first step on what I hope will be a very long journey. We're never going to be done with this work. This is with us. And I look forward to a task force, a work group that will include representatives from these sectors and from generations. Make sure we have some young people at the table for whom this is Most important. I don't know about 10-year-olds, Anna, we'll see. But, you know, the young people, this is.
invited them.
Okay. This is the most important thing for them. So I hope that in the future, people will look back and say, you remember when Project 46 got started in that really nice Nashville town hall on that day in March of 2023? That was a good thing. Thanks a lot for being here, Brad. We appreciate it.